At 6:01 a.m., 3 strangers in shiny polyester uniforms hammered on my door. One shoved a pink slip into my palm, like it was a speeding ticket. $500 for a recycling bin. Sitting by my garage, 18 minutes too early. And by sundown, our sleepy clubhouse would be dressed like a courtroom. A man in a rented suit would call himself a hearing officer, and half my neighbors would be nodding along while someone tried to strip me of my rights. Yeah, that happened. 2 days earlier, my life in Maple Ridge was boring. In the best way, I'm James Carter. Software project manager. Single dad to Mia, who thinks mac and cheese is a religion. We live in a cul-de-sac where lawns look like fresh haircuts, and kids leave chalk galaxies on the driveway, and if you'd asked me to list threats to public safety, I would have said tricycles in the sidewalk, and Mr. Benton's hedge trimmer, not a blue bin at sunrise. You know what I mean. The HOA president is Patricia Whitmanat, when she's pretending to be friendly. Shellacked hair, legal pad. Under her arm, a covenant binder she treats like scripture. She showed up that morning with 2 guys in matching Navy uniforms. Trying too hard, the badges looked legit from 10 feet away and like laminated arts and crafts up close. Pure Section 12B exterior equipment placement, she said, without even a Hello 500 due. In 24 hours, and when I asked how a bin was a hazard, she smiled. Like a parking meter visibility concern. Neighbors reported unusual activity in your garage. The unusual activity was me carrying soccer cleats. I said, "If that's a felony, go ahead and cuff me." One of her guys adjusted his stance like he'd watched a video called How Cops Stand. I took the slip, shut the door, and did what stubborn people do. I documented. By lunch, the paper storm arrived $250 for a porch bulb that was too cool in color temperature, $300 for unapproved window film. That came with the house, $150 for noise at 7:12 p.m. When I was burning grilled cheese and whisper cussing at myself, Pat posted a reminder in the HOA app with my lot number glowing like a wanted poster. Some residents resist safety improvements. Please report. Suspicious activity at the pool. I felt the whisper breeze neighbors, who usually waved, found their towels fascinating when I walked by. It pressed on old bruises. I don't show anyone the kid who wore his cousin's jacket the guy managers thanked, but never promoted, so I put that feeling in a box and kept collecting receipts, photos, timestamps, a binder tab. Marked fines that don't exist. Next morning, the uniforms returned with tape measures and clipboards, angling from my garage like it was public property before anyone sets a toe inside. "Show me the bylaw that lets you enter," I said. With my hand on the frame, Pat's smile sharpened. "Emergency safety assessment under Section 15C," she said, so I flipped open the same covenant binder she sold me for $60. "There is no 15C, I said, showing the camera. Where pages jump from 14 to 16, the tiniest tremor hit her jaw and vanished. She reset like a pro. "We'll handle this at the community tribunal tomorrow. 7 p.m., attendance is mandatory." And I said, "We doing full Shakespeare or just the gavel scene?" And she glanced at Mia's chalk sons and went cold. "Compliance is not optional, Mr. Carter." That night, the clubhouse looked like a courtroom had swallowed a TED Talk. Rows of chairs, rented podium document camera, a projector screen. Looping Maple Ridge values at the front. A man in a crisp suit tapped the mic. "Good evening." "I'm hearing Officer Marcus Lane," he announced with the voice of someone paid by the syllable. I knew that face. The mattress commercial guy, where dreams come true for the whole family. The one I begged my remote to skip during football. I actually laughed under my breath because, of course. And to my left, Elena Brooks, the nurse who notices everything, slipped a flash drive into my palm without looking at me. "Watch this before you speak," she whispered to my right, Tom. Nguyen, retired city inspector, with a spine like a plumb line, tapped a stack of code printouts. They can't enter without consent or a court order record. Everything he said, so I did. I set my binder on a chair and hit record on my phone. Marcus opened with solemn theater. "We are here to address risk behaviors by resident James Carter." He read unauthorized lighting, unapproved modifications, an intimidating tone. On community threads, intimidating tone. As in, I asked folks to stop tagging me in lost dog posts at 1 a.m. Then Pat rolled a slideshow with bright colors and confident arrows. Since Mr. Carter moved in, anxiety metrics are up 15% adjacent property values, down 3% due to perceived risk perceived. Did a lot of work in that sentence. She popped up a printed psychological evaluation stamped Dr. Grant Stone with no license number. Authority, resistant tendencies. Territorial aggression, she read, in a soft, judgy voice. And I could feel the room tilting. New families, clutching that word. Safety like a lifeline. Pat leaned close enough for me to smell her department store flowers. Sign the behavior agreement. Pay the fines. "And this goes away," she murmured. "I have better things to do than babysit a grown man." My stomach dipped. I almost folded. Then my thumb found Elena's flash drive, and a different part of me stood up. 2 minutes for accuracy, I said. And Marcus gave me a grave nod, like we were all pretending together. I slid the drive into the document camera. The screen blinked. There was Pat. In a blazer, coaching 3 neighbors on a couch in her living room, I recognized from her real estate photos Sue's the phrase felt unsafe. She told them, say, 7:12 p.m. It sounds precise. One guy tried his line, and she stopped him. Slower. Believable. Not dramatic. The room inhaled, like it shared one set of lungs. I clicked to clip 2. Pat holding a fake city email template with a logo identical to the real one, except the domain had a swapped letter. If he doesn't comply, forward from this address. People don't check letters. When they're scared, she said. And then I flipped my binder to the back, put the jump between pages 14 and 16. Under the lens. There's no 15C. I set it to the emergency. You keep talking about lives in the margin. My hand didn't shake when you write in public. You get calmer, not louder. I laid down a printed invoice, Lane Creative LLC Compliance Facilitation. $2,400 paid from the HOA operating account next to it. I placed an agency 1 sheet with Marcus's headshot. Same smile, different tie. Someone in the back whispered what half the room was thinking. Is this even legal? Marcus's voice wobbled, and to his credit, he didn't lie. Yes, I do. Local commercials and corporate training, he said, deflating as he confessed. I was told this was a simulation to test procedures. Pat snapped. Irrelevant. The board empowers me to protect our community, and that sentence. Right there. That is the tell of power. When it feels the floor moving, the volume goes up, and the facts get blurry. I tapped my phone to speaker and called the city. Tom had already texted his contact, Angela, from Code Compliance, picked up on the second ring. Do you authorize HOA emergency garage assessments? I asked. No, she said instantly. HOAs may not enter private property without consent or a court order, and there are no emergency assessments for Maple Ridge. The sound that followed was a human low-tide embarrassment moving through fabric eyes, finding carpet because shame hates eye contact. Pat leaned in so only my mic and I could hear. "You think this ends here? I can lien your house by Friday and have you out by Christmas." I slid a highlighted statute onto the podium. "Improper lien brings civil penalties and removal from the board," I said. Tapping the paragraph, "Also my neighbor Mary is live streaming this, so your alumni group will enjoy the replay." Sometimes a little theater puts the truth on its mark. On the dais, 2 board members, Ray Collins and Dana Perez, had that pew whisper. "You hear? When conscience wakes up, Ray." Ray stood with a face like a paper that finally got written. "I move to suspend President Whitman, pending an independent audit and legal review," he said. Dana said it second, and for a heartbeat, the room froze like the carpet might catch fire. Then hands went up 1, 5, 12. Enough, the motion carried. There was no gavel, just the soft click of a microphone being set down carefully, and I felt not triumph, but release. Like the first breath after holding it too long, victory isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just precise. Here's the part you might not expect. There wasn't applause. People who'd almost voted me into a cage made of fake rules didn't suddenly become best friends. Some stared at the floor. Some looked at me like they wanted to clap, but were afraid of being seen. A young mom with a toddler in a dinosaur hoodie raised her hand from the back. "I moved here for quiet," she said, voice tight. "I don't care about your bin or her binder. I care that my kid can ride a scooter without drama. This feels like chaos." And I nodded. Because I get it. Fear sells fast when it wears a uniform. "I want quiet too," I said. "But quiet without fairness is just silence. Someone else pays for you." Could see a few heads tilt like the line landed. Pat stacked her papers with careful hands ritual after an earthquake. She didn't look at me. She looked at the door and I let her. I didn't grin or toss in. "I told you so." I put my phone face down. Like setting a stone. Went home, tucked Mia in. She asked if the bad lady was gone. Kids are simple in the way that tells the truth. "She's not in charge right now," I said, my voice catching on the last word. And sometimes not in charge is enough for today. "You didn't yell," she said. "You used papers. Papers are how people like me yell," I told her. And she giggled into her pillow. "The audit will take weeks. The live stream will do. Laps around the internet. Apologies will show up in careful language, like if I made you feel some folks will keep their distance because admitting you were fooled. Comes with interest. I can live with that. What I won't live with is pretend authority, turning decent people into an audience for fear. So I'll keep my bin where the bylaws say. Keep my porch light within spec. Keep my paper trail thick. Keep my voice steady. And if anyone shows up at 6:01 a.m. with a fine that doesn't exist, they're going to meet a camera, a statute, and the part of me that refuses to be small. You know what I mean, so tell me. Was I stubborn or standing up for something bigger than a blue bin? Should a neighborhood choose quiet at any cost? Or should quiet include fairness? Even when it's inconvenient, have you ever watched fake authority get so polished? People applauded it. Drop your take in the comments. Argue with me. Back me up, tell your own HOA story. And if you're into true stories about ordinary people refusing to be small hit, like, subscribe, ring the bell. The conversation doesn't end at the vote. It starts there.